Welcome back to Desk Careers. I'm so excited to bring another incredible guest. Today we are meeting with Zoe Garside, who is the Board Certified Behaviour Analyst, BCBA, at Neuropedia Children's Neuroscience Center here in Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. Welcome, Zoe. It's so great to have you with me today.
Thank you. I'm really pleased to be here today.
I'm so excited, a little bit nervous. You're the very first behavior analyst that I have ever interviewed. So I'm really excited to learn more about your career and definitely interested in learning more about what you do and how young people might also aspire to achieve a career just like this. But before we go on the journey of what you're doing today, I like taking guests backwards and helping them kind of go down memory lane to the younger them when they were just a student thinking about the potential opportunities that may lay ahead. So was being a behavior analyst always on the plan for you when you were a teenager? And if not, where did you think your career would be heading?
So absolutely not. I had no idea what I wanted to do when I was in high school. I studied a random mix of subjects like economics and biology and French. And I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I've always loved working with children. I've always volunteered with younger children, like reading to them in school. And I just assumed that I would be a primary school teacher. And it was only when I went to university that I even found behavior analysis and knew what it was. Whereas, like you, I'd never even met a behavior analyst before.
So how did you find it? I mean, was it a course that you took? Was it a professional that you met? Where did it come into the path for you?
So I went to university in the UK and studied childhood studies. And my course leader was a behavior analyst, or is a behavior analyst. And we had to do a class in behavior analysis, along with all the other psychology and sociology that we were doing. And I just understood ABA. I got it. And I was like, okay, I really like this. And so from there, I went on to study ABA.
Amazing. Okay. I know that your academic interests as a young teenager were biology and maths. When you say that you were interested in them, were you academically striving and thriving, or was it just an interest, a passive interest in those two subjects?
So yeah, they were definitely my favorite subjects. In school, I did pretty well in biology. Maths, I was good, but not great. But it's still good enough to do an A-level in that.
Okay. And here you are today as a behavior analyst. Do you ever tap into those two subjects right now? Are those foundation subjects that a young person should be paying more attention to if they want to go down a career path as yours?
So I definitely think having some interest in sciences is great. I use maths a lot, not to the A-level standard, but we do a lot of analyzing data within behavior analysis. So that's definitely relevant. And if people were interested in pursuing behavior analysis, then psychology would be quite a good route to go down as well.
Amazing. Before we go into the post-secondary pathway that you took at university, let's put into context what a behavior analyst does and how you use your role when you're working with children.
Sure. So as a behavior analyst, I am using the principles of behavior analysis, which is how we learn from the environment, and trying to apply it to socially significant contexts. So for me, I work with children with autism and other developmental delays, but other behavior analysts could work in such a variety of areas, such as being a personal trainer, trying to help people lose weight, to get fitter, to work in businesses, within marketing, increasing productivity. So behavior is anything that we say and anything that we can do. And within ABA, we can increase or decrease any behavior. So there's a huge scope for what we can do and what areas we can work in.
And how does it feel to do this with children? I mean, there'll definitely be two opinion camps, wouldn't there, when we're talking about behavior analysis of a young child? What maybe give us a perspective on what people say about the positive side of behavior analysis with children, and maybe what are some of the criticisms of behavior analysis when working with children?
Sure. So, we are helping to change the lives of children and their families. So if we think about some of the children that I might work with, they do not have, or some of them might not have a way of communicating their wants and needs. And so we can teach them those skills, or they're not able to attend a mainstream school, potentially because of the language delays, or for some children, behavior challenges as well. And so, the fact that we can help these children to access, education, social groups, that's amazing. And it can be life-changing for families as well, because they can really be struggling with some children with some of these like skill deficits. So on that side, it's amazing work that we do. But of course, with every role, there is criticisms of what we do, such as, a lot of people just don't understand what we do, and they don't understand that it's a very individualized therapy that we do. And some people think that we do the same things for every person. Some people worry that we're trying to remove autism from a person, and that's not what we're trying to do at all. We're just trying to help them, to live in the world that we live in. Of
course, and it's such an important aspect of child development and working with the whole child, isn't it? And I know in what you're saying right now, you don't just work with children. You've mentioned several times that you're also helping families and parents. How does your work help the child, but also support the parent alongside?
So, like I said, I can do lots of different things. And some of the things that I do in my daily work are to do parent training, or even teacher training, and LSA or shadow teacher training as well. So helping all of those people to support the child, to make sure that we're being consistent across any environment that the child is in, and helping them to adapt to every situation, because I'm not able to be with a child all of the time. But most of the time, there will be an adult with a child, whether they're at home or they are in school. And so that can also help the children to generalize their skills across all different environments as well.
Amazing. Okay, let's go backwards. Let's take you back to post-secondary education. I know you gained a bachelor's degree and then went on to do a master's degree. I think I fell open thinking 1,000 hours of supervised practice. What does that even mean? And how do you register those hours to gain your BCBA?
Yeah, so like you mentioned, to become a BCBA, which is a Board Certified Behaviour Analyst. So there's a certification board in America that licenses behaviour analysts all around the world. And to get that qualification, you need a master's degree in behaviour analysis or a relevant subject, and then a varying number of supervised practice hours. So for me at the time, I had to get 1,000 hours. Now I think you need 1,500 or 2,000 hours, depending on the route that you decide to take. So I worked in a clinic attached to my university and in a school for children who had been expelled from their mainstream school for challenging behaviour. And I was supervised by someone who was already certified as a behaviour analyst. So I would go into the school or into the clinic. Teachers would tell me what some of the challenges they were facing were. I would take that back to my supervising BCBA. We would come up with a plan together, and then I would be implementing behaviour reduction protocols or skill acquisition programs, social skill programs, teacher training, parent training, and would do some of that under the supervision of a BCBA. So they might come and observe me, or we would do meetings, and you need a certain percentage of your hours to be directly supervised. And the supervision can also happen in a group with other people who are also learning the same things as you, or it can be one-on-one. And we've got a checklist of skills that we need to be fully competent at to be able to be certified as a BCBA.
So putting into context, how many years does it take to gain 1,000 hours?
So for me, I was limited with how many hours I could do. So I could only do 20 hours a week. And it took me about 15 months to do that.
15 months. Amazing. So a young person thinking, wow, this is a career I'm interested in. I do like the idea of going on and doing a master's degree. I like the idea of working with children. What kind of work experience or out of the classroom experiences should a young person begin to expose themselves to if this is a career path for them?
I think most things relating to children, if that's the population that you want to work with. Obviously in Dubai, we can be a little bit limited with some of the volunteering things that we can do. But if you're within a school, like I used to go and read to foundation stage or kindergarten age children. And during times like when I did not have lessons, like when I was in year 12 and year 13 and I had some free lessons, then I would go down and help in some of those classes. So you're still within the school, but you can be doing different things. Because I think it's really important for adults to learn to interact with children, how to play. That's such an important skill that I had to relearn. If you decide, that you would like to work with adults, then potentially when you're at university, if it's in a different country, you might be able to find either a part-time job or, again, more volunteering opportunities within residential facilities. And they're normally more than happy to have additional help.
Fabulous. Talk to me about what a telehealth therapy is. You mentioned that your field is evolving with technology this way. What does that mean, and how can a young person prepare for it?
So telehealth therapy would be doing the therapy that we would normally do online. So like this, over Zoom. So I personally have done parent training, teacher training, and shadow teacher training over Zoom. My clinic decided not to do teletherapy for the children because we thought that having a 3-year-old on the other side, trying to interest them would be very difficult. But I know that other clinics within Dubai and across the world have been doing just that. They have a parent with the child on one side, and the parent has already been trained on what we're going to be doing, how to get the child to attend, how to reward or reinforce the child for anything that they're doing correctly. And then the therapist is on the other side. Either they've changed their screen so that it's showing specific materials, things that we're trying to teach the child, or we are the ones who are asking the child to do something.
Wow, it's just amazing what technology has allowed us to do. Definitely challenging right now, but I almost imagine a few years down the road, we're going to look back and think, how was it ever different to doing just that? Zoe, if I had to take you back to being 16 and ask you to re-plan your pathway ahead, would you have taken the same route, or do you think you'd make some changes?
I think that I would have chosen my A-levels a little bit better if I knew that this is what I was going to do. I don't think that economics really helped me in the field that I'm in now. So I would have loved to have done some psychology or sociology, but I everything happens for a reason, I think, and it was because of the choices that I made that I went to a university. I thought I was going to study biology. As I walked out of a room thinking, this is definitely not for me, I saw a sign for childhood studies, and I didn't get the grades to go to the first university that I wanted to, so I ended up getting into a different university through clearing in the UK. And because of that, I then met my course leader, who was a behaviour analyst, and everything sort of spiraled from there.
It's just amazing. And what I'm hearing you say is things kind of panned out for you, but what you did was you took the opportunities that showed up at different parts. And I always say you never know who you're going to meet next and what kind of an impact that individual might have on your life. So to that mentor that you met that inspired you, that teacher, professor, really changed your life. And just being able to retell this story today means not only did she inspire you, but she also created such an impact that made you want to be doing that. So it's just so incredible. And this is what these interviews are all about. I hope that there's a young person right now watching your interview, Zoe, thinking, wow, that's something no one ever told me about. I'm really curious. Let's talk about your final top tips just before we say goodbye. Here you are, you're working with parents, you're working with children, you're working with educators, you're also keeping yourself on top of your profession and making sure that you stay ahead of the game. What would you say are your top professional tips that you think a young person could really gain insights into preparing themselves for the future of work?
I think seeking lots of different opportunities, educating yourself on what's out there, watching videos like this to find out more careers, because I had never heard of behavior analysis. It never came up on one of those career quizzes that I did when I was in school. So just really educating yourself and speaking to lots of different people and finding out what different opportunities there are, and take the opportunities when they arise and do something different that's out of your comfort zone.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Zoe. Such a pleasure talking to you again today.
And you, thank you so much.
And that brings us to the end of another incredible conversation. Today we were speaking with Zoe Garside, who is the Board Certified Behaviour Analyst at Neuropedia Children's Neuroscience Center here in Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. I'll see you all at the next Desk Careers Digital Spotlight.